sir?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
All right, all right.
Mic is on?
Mic is on.
All right.
All right, what you going to share with the people?
Well, I'm going to talk about speaking a little bit and overcoming the psychology of economic enslavement. So,
Wow. All right. That's my cue. I'm going to take some notes myself. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Yes. Well, good afternoon, shall I say. It's no longer morning, but thank you all for joining us here. And give it up for several of the amazing speakers that spoke before me. Man, you all have been awesome. My name is Haki, Ammi. I'm actually from Baltimore, west side of Baltimore, if you will. I am not a success scholar, I'm the success scholar, I like to say. But it wasn't necessarily always like that. Just coming up from Baltimore, I didn't necessarily make all the right choices and decisions. Now, let me ask, how many of you all were C students? C students, you got, so can we give it up for the C students in the left and C students in the right? So myself and President George Bush, and we were like that. So, but I say that, and for the young people, I don't want to try to encourage that, but maybe when you're older and you've overcome, you can look back and maybe laugh at things like that. But just sometimes when you create these challenges early on, it come back to haunt you, right? All right, so experiencing those challenges with school and being in the 10th grade, and then being in the 10th grade, and then being in the 10th grade one more time, I kind of started thinking like, this doesn't work right for me, right? So I was a little frustrated, so that was one of my challenges, as well as being sort of like a juvenile delinquent. And so I had like a small record, a small juvenile record. But fortunately, I was blessed enough to not be too hardcore, right? I wasn't really a gangster, I wasn't really a criminal. It was just petty type of criminal activity, shall I say. So, but I realized that I still was missing certain things, coming up. And so fortunately, being a C student in Baltimore City, I was good enough to graduate. That was like one of the only things I wanted to do. It was like graduate high school. I mean, it's like, when now that I think about it, it's like, man, how small-minded, So I had some positive, inspirational individuals in my life, my brother, my father, my grandfather, several people. And so I didn't have the options, but, fortunately I was smart enough to go directly into the United States Navy. Any military people in here? Any people serve? Thank you for your service, sir. Thank you. What branch?
Air Force.
Air Force, okay. Low flying Air Force, but no, thank you. What branch, bro? Army, all right, cool. Appreciate that. So I did 5.5 years active duty. I was a personnel and PN, for those who may not know, just paper pushing, but it was pretty good. It was a good job for the military. And I was able to actually be around officers, and they taught me a lot. And actually, that's when the first time I heard about Toastmasters. Didn't join or anything, but I heard it from an officer that that is a good program to be a part of. And feeling like a failure, actually early on, it made me become angry, about my situation, that I didn't know what I didn't know. How many of you all sometimes feel like, what would I have done if I had known more? And so being a little frustrated from an urban environment, sometimes you want to blame everyone, but now that I look back at it, we make choices, we make life choices, and hopefully our choices can lead to the right destiny. And so being in the United States Navy, I was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, and later, during my military time, or just before I actually graduated high school, and into my military career, being upset and really feeling ignorant. I felt like that I was deprived. And so I went on a reading regimen. And so from age 20 to age 31, I read 100 books a year. for 11 years on a diverse amount of topics, economics, history, psychology, everything that I thought that I was missing to overcome the challenges that I had. And so when I got out, because I realized that I had an entrepreneurial mind, I discovered network marketing, right? Like many of us, and I'm not going to say the name of the company, but the initials first is ACN. So I got some awesome training from that company. I mean, I would encourage everybody, look, if you're young and you want some good training, that's the best training that you can get. And so later, I started, selling noni juice. Anybody like noni juice? All right, I still got some boxes in my garage. How many of y'all can relate to that? No, but network marketing was quite an awesome experience. I mean, I've been in several different companies, some of the top trainers and speakers all over the country. And later, some years ago, I got away from network marketing, but Organo Gold popped up, and so I was pushing that for some years. But I realized that something was missing, and so as Brother Sir Charles said, and let me stay centered. As Brother Sir Charles said, I connected to the Marathon of Excellence, which was a group of teachers, coaches, speakers. And so Dr. George Frazier came to town in Prince George's County, and he was talking about his Power Networking Conference. And several years ago, I mean, I've heard of George Frazier. I read one of his books and listened to one of his audios several years ago, and he was talking about this conference. I said, I want to go, George. I want to go. I said, I've been wanting to go, George, Dr. Frazier. And he said, don't want to go anymore, son. Get going and come. And I decided that year, with the assistance of many other Marathon of Excellence, and let me kind of digress, because what happened, the Power Networking Conference was actually in Dallas, right? And I had all of my peers, Sir Charles and several other amazing speakers, coaches, teachers who were going, but I was still stuck like, well, if they don't go, I may not go. I'm like, I've been in the Navy, traveled all over the world, so I just reflect now how I was thinking, and this was some 5 years ago. So I realized that sometimes we put these barriers in our mind. And so